Join in.
Thought she was gonna be here.
You don't have anybody. We don't have anybody in the room here that's interested in making an appearance. Anne's connecting right now. Sure if she's interested in. See, Anne,
Hello,
hello, welcome.
I'm just here to listen.
Okay, you don't have anything you'd like to say during the appearance section?
No, I don't. Thanks.
Okay. All right, thank you. Then we'll close the appearance section and move on to number 5, unfinished business ridership. You don't have to know it.
So. I have a little issue, they don't have, they didn't send them in September. Free sentence. But. They got a bunch of new drivers and I was talking to them and kind of, I've been. I think some of the lifts to the express are kind of mismatched a little bit, but
What do you, sorry, what do you mean by this?
I think like, I think some of the lift people are probably in the express. So,
Oh, it's a data problem.
yeah,
Okay, sorry, I thought
I think
it
it's
was
because of the
like something
new-
going on with the writers.
no, I think with the new drivers, so I think there's, they can tell who's recording and how they were getting recorded before.
Okay.
But in general, we're up express over, I mean, overall, we're up 1,049. Express is up 1,855. Lift is down 806, like I said, it's a little bit of data problem with the new people, how they're coding it, maybe they were coding it wrong before. But in total, everything, we're still up 1,000 writers.
But not yet 50% of pandemic peak, so.
Right.
Oh, but
yeah.
the year's not done yet, so maybe we'll
Yeah,
get 50%.
so we got 3 more
this year.
months, we'll be, ahead of last year.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 1,000 though is rides, not riders, correct?
Right,
So we're up, we say up 1,000.
Right.
It's 1,000 rides.
Right,
not
right,
riders.
that's correct.
Okay. Okay, and as long as we're on the ridership reports, when you say there's a bunch of new drivers and it's just in general, like, are we back onto a full schedule?
Yes, supposed to be this full schedule, so if they haven't, nobody's told me, they've been driving full schedule.
They have been driving.
Yeah.
And how long have they been driving?
It's been a while, it's been since last year.
I thought we still were missing one or two in the morning.
Oh, yeah, because I always look at the other ridership report, which I don't see here. Yeah, yeah.
I'll double check, it might have been early, I know it was early in the year, in the last year, or early this year.
Okay, because I thought, like I said, I thought we had the previous.
Because it's number wise, it's fairly similar. So.
They were only doing like 2 and 3 months. And do we have a sense of why there's new drivers?
Well, they had some retirements and left.
Okay.
So it took forever to actually, I mean, they were still looking for the ones that were big. So that's-
Questions about the membership?
In the abstract, I'm trying to look at the data and see if there's any indication from this that we're seeing a shift in the express given the new Madison bus routes surrounding our
Yeah.
community. Are there
Right,
people
yeah,
that
that's
aren't taking the express because they're now catching the C or the L on the periphery of Monona? And I don't think there's kind of any way of answering that question, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But for me, that'll, I think, be a really interesting question as the system kind of evolves to see how fluid is that. What's the shift around between the two systems, as long as the two systems are going in parallel.
Yeah. And Mark, tell me about the lift again in terms of 22 versus 23 and the.
Yeah, so I think because there's one bus, I think one bus is a / express lift. So I think, I don't know, whoever's probably tracking them. It's either Miss Covenant to either Lyft or Express, I don't know which ones. Right, so I think that's probably what's going on. Look at that. Cause we don't have a separate bus, it's just Lyft only, it's a mixed bus, it starts off as an Express and filters into the Lyft, so I
Right.
think it's. So I think that's what happened.
Okay, and so, but do we still think that the salient point is that the lift rides overall are down?
I would say it's. I mean, I can't. I did talk to him, I still think he thought it was still probably basically the same, he's still doing. Like the same number of lifts calls per day, so I think that's why I think it's probably should be swung down a little bit more where there's more lift and less express. Cause he said that the number of calls and number of transports, it really hasn't changed at all, it's still very consistent, so.
Cause I know RSVP, as you know,
Yeah.
at our budget this year.
Yeah.
And Diane and Senior Center, which I know chairs the Senior Center. And RSVP is considerable.
And it's gonna be a little bit down in general because we lost some notables.
Right.
So.
Okay, fill me in, what is
So
RSVP?
RSVP is RSVP is a bus service that operates.
Through the seniors.
For the Senior Center using volunteers.
Yeah,
So the idea is that people can call in to RSVP and say, I need a ride to.
Got it.
And that can be to the grocery store, it can be to the doctor, it can be anywhere.
Okay.
But it's and so there's a dispatcher on the other end. And according to the Senior Center and Diane, the number of phone calls into RSVP to ask for rides is down, but then the other challenge has been that this is post-COVID. And then the other challenge is that the number of seniors that are available to actually serve as the drivers. Because it's all on a request basis, you know, if they get dispatch gets a call and says, you know, I need to go to the grocery store, I need to go to the doctor, they have to find someone to fill that. It's like finding their own personal Uber, you know, free Uber to go to somebody and, you know, and take them where they need to go, and they're having a hard time finding drivers.
Okay.
As well, and, so Diane's assessment of it and the Senior Center's assessment of it is that seniors may not yet be comfortable being in a car, with somebody that they don't know post-COVID. Or mostly post-COVID, since we still have COVID in our midst,
I tested it, okay.
yeah, but that's, but it may go the other way as well, which is that, so seniors might not wanna get into a vehicle with somebody they don't know, and people may not wanna drive, not as many people wanna drive.
I do now look at it, I think maybe. Lift should be down a little bit, because Monona Hills. In a big fire this last year
Yeah.
across the bowling alley. And that
That's
was
what you
tech-
meant when the railings.
Yeah, I mean, that was technically basically an affordable housing type of. Place, so I assume they would probably use it more, so I think that it does make a little sense to lift this down a little bit in general, but it's. There's an allocation, a little bit issue, but. You know, but the lift would have, the Monona Hills would have. In general, it's because it's not. Being rebuilt yet, and the plan is to be. That's. I think they just got an extension from the state because it's. Tax credits on there, so I think they had. Get an extension, they had a bill, we're supposed to have a bill by a certain date. So. Yeah. So I think that has a little bit general impacts that was probably wanted to use. That was being used by.
So did you discuss with the guy who thought maybe that the numbers were off because of the more drivers, did you discuss? Getting back on track, or can we discuss with him getting back on track?
Yeah,
even if we have a month or two that are kind of.
yeah,
So,
It does say online that morning loop one is not running,
it's not really. Sure.
due to driver shortage.
Oh, it says on our website, but not right now.
Alright, it should be updated, okay,
Oh, that's a website problem,
I
not
think
a.
it's a website.
well, like I said, it would be helpful actually, when, later, but it would be helpful to
Yeah,
get a few milestones, um. Okay, any other questions about the? Sure.
Did I miss why we don't have September data?
he didn't send it, he just
Oh,
sent it
okay.
today,
Gotcha.
so I sent it and I was like, I want to see September. And he's finally got back to me.
Thanks. Okay. That brings us to new business. Number 6, a discussion recommendation of mass transit provider to the city council.
So I don't know, just so if you're looking at, there's a description of the cost, so basically, with the numbers being changed with the different years and things like that, so I asked him, he made a final updated numbers. So maybe a little weird, this is loop week, I told him the different scenarios, like, is it just weekday only? So that'd be just a weekday only, but that would also mean we still have Monona Drive, so Friday, Saturday, Sundays would still be. You still have the access on Monona Drive, they'll be stopping. So, Monona Drive. There's 7 days, there's 2 ways and stuff like that, so. I told them, just give me some final updated numbers, because it's just with different things, everything gets updated. Their costs and budgets. They, like, I think you usually,
How do these work within our anticipated budget?
yeah, the only one that doesn't work is the last one.
With the 2-way 7-day week anyway.
Yeah,
So there's a possibility of us having two-way service 5 days a week that during the weekdays.
and then you'd have for the weekends, you just use the stops along. Sure.
Or we would have,
And Broadway.
would we not have any loop through the
No, that's what he's saying, that's what he's saying.
C route?
Yeah, C3 did not run during the weekend. If you go that route.
Okay,
That was just, I was trying to, at the time, trying to find some cost measures or things like that.
Yeah, cause
that's
I'm-
interesting.
cause it wasn't one of the options we specifically went through last meeting, right?
The 2-way.
No,
No,
like,
you-
only weekdays.
No.
No, and I just threw that in there, because
Okay, okay.
it's just
Yeah,
budget
that-
crunches and
Yeah,
stuff
that was
like
the
that.
first thing I heard about not having weekend service.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was just more of like, hey, you still have weekend service on. So you still have it on Monroe Drive, but just want it during the week and then go during the weekends and stuff.
I'm a block away on Broadway from where the
Yeah.
metro stop. So on a weekend I could go downtown,
So
can right now.
7-day, 2-way. I feel like there must be like a third option that we can afford that, or a fourth, a fifth. What do I want to say?
Hybrid option.
Like. I don't know, it probably doesn't make any sense to have a one-way loop on the weekend.
When the option here that's 2-way weekday only,
Yeah, there's just, I
What
tried
time
to
does
figure it
that
out, it's
start?
just more of a,
and it's not evening,
trying to put some cost options at the time when we were talking.
does that mean not evening?
2 no, it is evening too. That's just later.
But yeah, it's just really the same.
So the one we've been looking at is 7 day,
Plus evening.
but evening. So,
That's the one that we've been focused.
yeah,
Yeah.
and this is, the other ones are just more cost options, one way or the other, one is savings, the other one's the 2-way loops, they want to really hit that.
Two-way, so maybe there is a two-way, because it sounds like weekday only means
Only
there
daytime,
wouldn't be an evening loop.
That's what I just said no.
it does need evening.
that couldn't, doesn't make sense with the hours though,
It'd be to 8 o'clock at night.
it would.
That's what he told me from 2 o'clock.
The
We
two-way weekday only to 8.
Yeah,
So loop 7-day plus evening. So one direction loop 7-day plus evening is the most aligned with the bus schedule surrounding us.
yes,
Okay, so that's same coverage, same days of service, same hours of service.
Yeah.
Just one C3 loop going down Stoughton and then up north back to the library.
Yeah.
I think Jillian's trying to lobby.
Oh, yay.
thanks for one. So if you just want to take the weekdays only, it was just more of a cost measure.
She sent it.
Oh, goodness. Oh, she's been waiting for a while. Oops.
Sorry.
Sorry.
That's okay. I just wanted to make sure it's still going on.
Well, I guess
So-
I wanna back up before,
To catch Jillian up real quick,
yeah,
so we're looking at the email attachment from Justin that has a table of 4 different service options and 4 different prices. We looked already at the ridership report, so we're on to talking about proposals.
Okay, sounds good.
okay, so I wanna, I guess I wanna start first. By. Before we dive into the weeds, so to speak, on the Madison Metro proposal, I think I wanna start first where we left off the last meeting, which is. We went through the criteria, this is my really fancy, scribbled sheet, from our criteria at the last meeting, but certainly. My. Notes from the last meeting. Reflect that on the evaluation criteria. The majority of the evaluation criteria, Madison Metro, we felt like Madison Metro was the better option. Is that true?
I agree with
You agree with that?
That was my conclusion.
That
from
was
it.
my conclusion too, right?
I didn't see it.
Hmm?
The last meeting was in,
August.
yeah, and I was.
Ah.
And I couldn't find minutes.
Yeah. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
It's on
I know.
YouTube.
No, it's
No,
not.
it's not.
It wasn't on
I was
YouTube.
just watching it today.
Well, he must have
looked
just
for
put it
it.
up because I went to look for it today and maybe it was on, did you watch it on your phone? Or
No.
iPad?
I was looking on my phone.
Cause I went to
Oh.
YouTube and the
Yeah.
last meeting posted was in July, it wasn't August, but
Yeah, so that was, what happened on that is, so there's 2 logins, the city has 2 Zoom logins. And I had, for some reason, there was like 2 meetings that night. So they gave me a different login for the Zoom.
I remember that, yeah.
And problem is that usually gets updated to CloudRoy and they get an email right away and post it. So they didn't realize it was something different. So then when there was a thing, I looked. So it is posted now, it's up on, it is up now.
Okay.
They were able to find it, they were just didn't look at the right login, because
so when did it get
City
posted?
council on
it was up there today sometime. I think I copied you on it.
After I had said.
Yeah.
I was gonna talk to
Yeah.
you about it, okay.
Yeah, so I,
Well, thank you for putting it up there, but anyway, it's
Yeah.
on, and we
Okay.
had the criteria that we put together.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that was.
and by, and you know, Addie, if your notes say the same thing, I mean, by my notes with ease of use, access, equity. Several of the equities, 3 out of the 4 equities, frequency and timeliness, sustainability. Safety and reliability, Madison Metro all. Came. Out on top. And then there were a few where, you know, it was largely like, for instance, affordability with Madison Metro. It's definitely more affordable, because people can get subsidies and because overall you pay $2 to go anywhere. But paratransit is not as affordable as Lyft, so that it was kind of more of a split, but in terms of, on balance, Madison Metro came out highest. So my question is, before we dive into the weeds about Madison Metro, is, are we all in agreement? That we should be moving to Madison Metro.
I certainly.
So
I am.
if that's the case, I would love to entertain a motion. To, that our recommendation to the city council, whatever you wanna say, but the recommendation of the city council would be that we move to Madison Metro. If anybody wants to make that motion, they
I
can. I'll
move
wait for a second.
that this commission recommend to the city council that it accepts a proposal to move to Madison Metro.
Okay, recommendation.
Uh,
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Jim second. Any other discussion?
I'll have to abstain, because when I went through the meeting, what I was focused on is establishing criteria. We didn't think we were talking about actually applying it. I thought we were gonna go through our own worksheet and figure out those points, but my understanding was we established a criteria, but we didn't fill anything in terms of up or down on anything.
No, we went through the whole sheet,
At the August
Which one?
meeting?
the August meeting.
Yeah.
Oh,
The August meeting, I just watched on Zoom. We talked about the criteria and we had differences of opinion about which versions of Metro we're gonna include in the criteria and evaluate, but I did not get the sense that we had evaluated any of the routes. That was my impression of the meeting.
Well, I'm not saying that
I
we,
cer-
I'm saying that we evaluated these four, I'm saying that, that we evaluated no transit versus Monona train versus sticking with Express Lift versus going with Madison Metro. Madison Metro came out on top on a lot of those criteria as we walk through the criteria.
Maybe in passing, but
Okay,
I don't
You could-
recall it being something I would be ready to vote on.
okay. Okay,
Not that I aren't in sympathy with the idea of Madison Metro. I feel it will probably come out once we apply the criteria, but I didn't think that had happened at all. I don't know, you guys haven't seen the YouTube, so you don't know, but I came away with a very different impression.
well, I was at the meeting, so I didn't need to watch the YouTube, but.
Yeah.
I was at
I-
the meeting, but it was in
yeah.
August,
Right,
so
Yeah.
I needed to refresh my memory, so I was glad it was there,
right.
but.
I mean, we decided that one of the things that we talked about at the beginning of the meeting was the fact that it would not be appropriate to be ranking or to be assigning, or voting on each box and every piece of criteria, because with so few people, as any person who collects data would tell you, with so few people, you'd end up with a whole bunch of data that's like 1.2, 1.2, 1.2, and it doesn't get you where you need to go in terms of like rank ordering or anything. So we made a decision, my recollection of the meeting is that we made a decision at the beginning of the meeting that instead we were gonna walk through each one of the criteria and talk and discuss each of the criteria and say, given the 6 or 7 options in front of us, which one comes up on top. And that's where I got when I just said, that on ease of use, access, equity, 3 or 4 of the equities and the other pieces, that's Madison Metro came up on top in the discussion. So,
Okay.
okay,
My memory is quite
Yeah.
different, and even after watching the YouTube,
okay,
that's still my impression.
okay.
well, I just wanna double check that I just wanna make sure that you were able to watch the same video, right? Cause
What meeting?
Well, because I'm searching for the Transit Commission video from our August meeting, and I don't find it.
Oh, because I
Right.
think it's not necessarily on a mobile, I think it's more on a desktop. Didn't we just say something to that effect?
It's the same for any
Yeah,
type of device.
yeah,
Okay.
because in July, the
Are you-
meeting we had in July,
Was
we
to talk
did
about the
just that,
criteria.
is we outlined the criteria.
We decided the criteria.
Yeah, and then in August, we spent,
did the
you know,
evaluation.
and the thing that I'm looking at is it was almost a 3-hour meeting, 2.5-hour meeting.
Yes.
And I don't see anything that's been uploaded that, and
But
I
the
was
the
here.
meeting we're talking about is August 9th, the most recent meeting, right?
Yeah, 'cause
Okay. I'm gonna look for it.
yeah,
Like I said, I
because I
couldn't find it.
completely understand if you'd watched the July meeting.
Right. Then
That's
you would think
totally
we
what
didn't
we
do it
did,
because
yeah.
we were
So I
establishing.
just
the
wanna,
criteria.
yeah, so I just wanna make sure that. And it's always so weird to me when we're going past these videos on YouTube, my face just, God, why?
I know.
Yeah.
Why do they?
I don't see.
Yeah, so you have to go all the way to the end, because they, for some reason, they started in 2001. So. you
Yeah,
have
so
to-
yeah, this is it right here.
Yeah, okay, good, I'm here, you're here. Okay, good.
So you talking? Or I'm talking?
That was the,
So that's it right here. That's, he just uploaded it. So yeah.
It's just so, that's just.
That looks, I have to say, wait a minute. I'm just gonna say this is really weird, because when I went on today. And looked for the August 9th meeting. That picture, which is to say just 3 of you. Was on a Mass Transit Commission meeting that was in July.
oh, wow.
And there wasn't, and Brian didn't come, I mean, wait a minute, and then, and it was not,
Yeah, you're right, because otherwise, so he uploaded
so
the
I
wrong
think it's
stuff.
labeled wrong.
He uploaded it wrong. Yeah, he didn't come.
He didn't come in August.
No.
Yeah, and
And
Doug,
yours
you
and
were
Neil,
here.
Neil
I
didn't
was
show up.
here.
Yeah, because I was sitting here and you were sitting there.
But I might show up in, I'm there.
Ah, there you are, okay,
Nancy wasn't there. Were you in person?
you were online.
No, I was not, I was in the meeting.
Did we just approve meeting minutes from our August?
No.
we didn't. Okay.
We didn't have,
I could have sworn that I was on,
we haven't had meeting minutes.
I could have sworn that on the meeting that we actually went through the criteria, I was physically there, I was not. Anyway, yeah,
Okay.
Doing fine. What are you guys looking at?
just
So-
saying,
Well, this is,
Okay.
right.
so
That
we
looks
have a-
like the correct meeting though.
Yeah.
That video.
I think it is. Detours, okay.
All right, well, so I believe we have a motion and a second on the floor,
Can you repeat
and
this?
so,
Just make sure.
Wait, I move that the Transit Commission recommend that the city council
recommend to the city council.
recommend to the city council that it accepts the Madison Metro. A Madison Metro.
Thank you. And there was a vote. Abstained, is that?
We didn't vote.
We can
Okay.
go, yeah,
And
We have
maybe
a
I feel
second.
more comfortable with that just because I've been with this subject longer. You know, and the data and the reports and the surveys and our conversations. Cause I wasn't at the August meeting.
Right. Well, who
can I
knows?
yeah, Jillian,
Is the recommendation to recommend it without recommending one of the 4 options laid out in the email, like loop weekday only, loop 7-day plus evening, two-way weekday only, two-way 7-day plus evening.
I think so, I think, we might narrow it down to two. But that perhaps the. City council would wanna look at.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a sense, Jillian, of, I don't wanna spend a lot of time talking about the 4 recommendations if we're not going to Madison Metro. So I'm trying to get. A vote first on, yes, we wanna move towards Madison Metro now, recognizing that, again, as I've said in previous meetings. We can't let perfect be the enemy of the good. Which of
I
the 4
guess-
options in front of us, if we're going with Madison Metro, then which of the 4 options makes the most sense? That we would wanna add potentially to.
Right, there could be an
the
amendment.
recommendation. Right,
Because it seems like like if it's a loop weekday only, no evening. Some of the benefits that accrue from it that, I missed the August meeting because I was sick, but some of the benefits that we spoke about in earlier meetings with Madison Metro would not apply. It would just be like a slightly different version of Monona Express.
I would agree.
Yeah, the one that's really, we've been looking at the whole time is loop 7 days plus evening, that's the one.
Okay.
So I just.
Yeah, I was gonna say if
This-
depending on which one we go with, I would feel very differently.
Right, and I would also say one of the other things about it, the two-way, even though the two-way solves. Potentially solves some things. It contributes negatively in other ways, which is a fair number of people in Monona who are already concerned about the bus going down the street.
Mm-hmm.
16 hours a day, it means there'd be a bus going down the street 32 times a day. And there are people, so, I think the two-way, the concern about the one-way is that if I wanted to go to the library, the pool, or somewhere in Monona, that I'd have to, like, when I want to go back home, I'd have to hop on at the pool and go around the whole route before I could get back to my original bus stop, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I think for the most part, this body has been focused on Monona residents being able to get around the region more so than getting back and forth to the pool or to the city center.
That doesn't reflect my feelings.
Okay. You've been thinking more about people just going back and forth to the city center.
Not more, just also.
We wouldn't be adding to what we have if there's not an internal, a realistic way that people would ride it inside Monona.
I personally
So
think
I
if
think
we're
that-
discussing this motion,
Well, right,
that to have good ridership. It has to serve all of these purposes, be convenient to use for multiple things, not just commuting away. Or back from. The city. I would make a friendly amendment to include, we recommend a two-way. Service that we can afford. To the motion. I don't think that. If we say, well. We're worried about people's concerns about bus traffic, but not enough to not switch the surface to a bus, then. I just don't see the difference. I still don't think a vehicle every half hour constitutes high traffic. Especially if you're a person that uses the vehicle to get around.
Yeah, I agree.
right, and based on, the city's commitment to sustainability and DEI. To me, I would agree with you, and I really appreciate having these options because. I don't know, to quit at 8 PM, but have it two-way, no, maybe. Maybe that's. Yeah, I think two-way is critical.
And I apologize, but doesn't throwing them off just the weekday only, because we have budget issues, so I was trying. I was talking to him,
Right.
hey, what's some ways that you can, do this is like, well, you can just do, you know, Monday through Friday and then.
I think
drive,
the
yeah, that-
weekday option
And then,
is
yeah,
attractive. Because. A lot of the concerned people. That are worried about the bus traffic won't even be home when the bus is operating for its. For the core of its operating time, and when they're here and enjoying their weekend, there won't be a loop going through the city. I think that could be looked at as a good compromise for. People that are worried about bus traffic and. For the finances of the whole situation. And if it's, like you said, runs till 8,
yeah,
that seems like it extends into evening enough to be functional for. People that work maybe a different later shift or later at night or for civic purposes.
I think when we kind of started out the conversation, you know, there were kind of these key points, I think, that we really told the public that we were kind of holding to. And for me, one of them was 7-day service. You know, it was kind of this idea of expanding the hours, expanding into weekends and keeping the cost together. So for me, I think it's more, you know, those are kind of the things that I'm trying to hold us within.
Yeah.
Which is why I like your idea of like, is there a way to double up those loops
I think
and
that
keep the week, I don't know.
there's still G and L routes weekend, right? So
Yeah.
there's
Mhm.
service on the weekends, it's just not as intensive, I guess.
Got it.
In what from
And
what
we're
I'm
sure about that. They're
understanding.
not gonna do something where like the buses don't stop at Monona on Sunday.
no, I
We don't pay for Saturday.
guarantee.
Okay.
That's what that was the thing, was like, cause I call him and say, hey,
Yeah, yeah.
what things, you know, if they have budget issues, what? So, well, you can just.
When you write,
do it during the
tell me.
weekday, and then you still have access to every Monona drive. They'll still stop. We had to put some of the stops, we had to tell them.
We
to
sure
stop.
heard that a lot. Why don't they stop on Broadway?
Well, they
Well, they
would.
would.
They
Right.
guaranteed us that they would put
Well,
stuff in. the
but I mean, that's.
Yeah, that was the
where
reason
we
why
got-
we-
That was a
that was the
big
reason why
message
he-
from the public.
So you get your
They're
weekends,
already
it just would
covered
be
by
on
the
their own drive. You know, that was my like trying to.
Actually, Mark, that's brilliant. Now that I'm thinking through it. Cause we won't have maximum service in Monona, but we will have good service.
And it doesn't affect.
How is it less expensive than
Right.
one loop? 7 days though, is a weekend bus service really that expensive?
Good point.
That I don't
Yeah,
understand.
I don't understand the math there in that.
That was
how-
his estimated hours, and that's what he's basing on.
That's-
So does your friendly amendment need a friendly second?
I think she would have to accept my amendment.
I would accept your amendment.
So you're accepting the two-way.
That we recommend that the city council accept a two-way. Two-way proposals from the city.
So it does mean, hang on, so just so I'm clear here, because I wanna make sure we know what we're doing. You're absolutely sure, Mark?
Yeah.
That the two-way weekday only goes until 8 PM?
Yes. That I'm sure of the middle driving. Cause that's what
And
we're
you
trying,
have to drive all week,
all week,
Wow.
yeah,
so there would be coverage on Broadway and Monona Drive.
During-
And there would be a two-way during the weekday until 8 PM.
yes.
I mean, that would cut out some,
Damn nice proposal, honestly.
But it doesn't affect, I mean, if you're, just because you'd still have the coverage on the weekends for the seniors too, so it's still considered,
Oh,
the actual route is still considered
Wow.
the C1, so you have that half mile.
So
Paratransit would
Yeah.
still
yeah.
operate
You still operate as
7 days.
Oh,
So
wow.
I suggest as we're considering your amendment, let's put it in the positive. We recommend you find, or that we move to Metro with a proposal that achieves X, Y, and Z. Right, so we want, paratransit coverage 7 days a week. We want G and L buses to stop and stops in Monona 7 days a week for full service. And we want the C Monona route to run
C3.
C3 route to run both clockwise and counterclockwise along the proposed route between
Days until 8 p.m.
weekdays and Sunday. Cause that's what we want.
Right.
Right, those are the things we want.
Mhm.
And that, I think, is also a better way of saying it, cause then, you know, we're saying like, if those G and Ls are if the G and L buses aren't running through Monona on the weekends, it's no go, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
We need that weekend
Correct.
service from those.
Yeah.
And this is, okay.
So that's a different proposal than,
It's an amendment.
it's an amendment?
Mhm.
Okay, it's specifying what you're willing to accept that friendly amendment.
Yes, please.
I'm not Robert.
Oh, you can go back to the meeting notes.
So
But
I have an amendment, I have a second from Doug. Any other discussion about as just described, the two-way weekday only till 8 p.m.
GL guarantee.
And then G and L guaranteeing, that you know, we're gonna have to figure out and I wanna make sure that the C3 route is what we want. In terms of cause we've talked about several routes along the way, but but then also that we're gonna be working with Madison Metro on stops for both Broadway and Monona Drive. Which would run 7 days on their regular schedule, which means that it would be after 8 p.m. because they go until whatever.
GNL all the time.
Right.
C weekdays.
Right,
And if you want, I can just. Do what's recommended, we can bring it back, all the stuff in there is final approval. Have them send this stuff. Contract with all I've written in it.
Oh,
I mean, we can have, I can get.
Oh, and then we'd be recommending accept this proposal.
well, but I would think that, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but would we have to negotiate with Madison Metro? Well, first, let me not go there yet. We
That'd be the problem.
have a motion on the floor,
I
we
would
have an
say that
amendment on the floor.
there
So
should be a
the-
qualifier in the motion that ties the approval to a properly, like a contract that confirms all of these.
Right,
Yeah,
sure,
yeah,
of
that's
course.
what I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, of
I mean, I can
course.
just bring it to council.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
Let's do that, yeah.
so you've accepted the amendment, I have a second on the amendment, can I have a vote on the amendment, all those in favor of the amendment? That comes first,
only the amendment, okay.
only the amendment comes first, signify by saying aye,
Aye.
okay? So we're all in favor of the amendment, now we go back, to the original amendment, which was original, motion, which was that we want the city council. We want to recommend to the city council that we pursue service with the Madison Metro or something like that,
Yes,
right? All those in favor say aye.
Could Mark read the motion back to us?
Okay.
well, that's the transit commission recommends to the city council accept. The Madison Metro proposal. The Madison Metro proposal,
Right, and then the amendment clarifies which proposal. is
Yes.
great. I mean, we can,
the two-way weekend only. Guarantee GNL. Weekdays until 8 p.m. Madison Metro 7 days a week, and then I'll have to go back. and
Paratransit 7 days a week.
Paratransit.
Right.
Thank you.
Right, very good.
Sorry to be such a
No, that's great.
No,
detail oriented, but I want to hear the
Yeah.
motion that I'm voting on
Yeah.
in its entirety.
okay,
So because sometimes they don't get written down the right way
Right.
in the minutes.
100%.
well, we'll have an opportunity to correct the minutes if it's not written down. So.
Well, then we get into a big fight about what.
There we go. It's the advantage of having, it's the advantage, honestly, it's for staff,
Yeah,
is that we have everything on video now.
Yeah.
Not only for residents and new
Yeah.
members, but for the staff as well, because they can play.
it's like that conversion. They go and flag.
What's their name? What's the name of the person who's looking this and taking out the minutes and stuff? What's their name?
The employee at the city that's looking through all these videos?
Oh, it's each
Yeah.
individual staff member.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hi. I was, you know, if it was
You know.
Darren, I was ready, you know, wave hi to Darren, but sorry,
Okay,
chasing rabbits.
okay, so we're gonna recommend the two-way weekday only till 8 p.m. with all the other things that we just talked about, like, you know, making sure the other routes, still run on the weekends.
Did we vote? I don't think we.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. Thanks.
Oh, we voted on the amendment.
Brother, man,
Yeah.
maybe we're on the final.
We were just about to,
Yeah.
we were about to call us.
Yeah.
I thought that since we already voted, all right.
This, but C3 doesn't need to be fixed at this point.
No.
It's-
I mean, unless you guys want to fix, but.
No, I mean, it still
We-
could be,
I would recommend that we fix it, or that we add that to the recommendation, but it doesn't have to be part of this motion.
And
And I
by
would
C3, do
also-
you mean the route that we
Yeah,
chose? Okay,
correct.
okay, the map of the proposed
Correct.
route is what you mean by that, thank you.
yeah.
And,
But it's still a
we might wanna
proposed
make
route.
some recommendations around the stops on Monona Drive and Broadway too, although I would certainly argue that I would want Public Works and Public Safety to weigh in on where we think the best places are for the stops, because they're the
Right.
ones that, and not to mention Madison, Madison Metro.
Yeah.
So, you know, but if we
Yeah.
say, we'd like to stop here, you know, between here and here.
Because the route does change.
So
Cause
can we vote on the, so we're voting on the two-way weekday on the motion that you just read,
Mhm.
correct?
Yes.
Next, okay. Do we need Mark to read the motion again?
Nope,
Okay,
just did.
He heard it.
okay. All those in favor of the motion for the council, signify latest motion for the council, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm voting aye because I like this proposal. So
Okay. Okay. Great. Phew.
But the one thing probably gonna have to bring back, because the route is a little bit different, they don't go down Stone Road. So I don't know if you guys remember the
Yeah.
map that we showed you,
No, so what's going on?
so we'll have to just double check that, because it's a two-way, so you don't go to. So when you come in at the city,
Right.
it's Dempsey and down around, I don't know if you guys remember. we had that.
Stoughton Road didn't have any stops on it anyway, so.
Right, so it eliminates that portion.
Which is,
the bus would just turn around and go back up.
So it goes around and it comes back, so yeah.
which is surprising because, and this is why I dare say I'm a
Spends
little
more
bit
time in the
skeptical about this, Mark, because
that they can do it in.
I mean, they prefer it this way.
originally Justin said that when we talked about the two-way, besides the additional expense. He talked about the reason why he was going down Stoughton Road, going down to Stoughton Road, and zipping down and going through Femrite, et cetera. Which, and by the way, if he's not going down Stoughton Road, what happens to Femrite?
Oh, yeah.
It's part of the map that we looked at. Well, if you were gone that night. We showed you.
It goes down Femrite along Broadway and back up.
Yeah,
Monona
so we go
Drive.
down and then,
Well, in any case, let me just finish my thought. He said that he could not do the two-way. Or in order to meet their time, 20 minutes. That's why they were doing Stoughton Road.
yes,
Or because they couldn't include the C3 routes and do it in an hour if they didn't go down Stoughton Road, although I dare say during rush hour traffic, Stoughton Road is worse than any other street out there, having been on it again today. I was like, what am I doing out here? It's so
Oh, yeah.
complicated. It's bumper to bumper down.
Yeah, one
But-
of the intersections is up for reconstruction.
But he,
Yeah.
so now all of a sudden say he can do the 20 minutes going down. And coming back and just reversing the whole thing makes me.
Well, but they've had,
he drove, I mean, they mapped it
yeah,
out
they've
for
had
us.
more experience with the routes.
I mean, they mapped it out.
Which
This
might
is-
have helped
this-
out.
And they prefer it for some reason, I'm not sure what they're, internally why they prefer. it. Cause it's. Remember, but yeah, they gave us an app.
I don't remember, all the maps I've seen have Stoughton Road in, it, so
No,
I don't think I've seen about,
I remember we showed.
I remember seeing it,
So,
I remember seeing it, yeah,
Okay.
but I. let me see.
Yeah, I don't remember if I, it's, I don't think it's this. I would have to go back. Yeah. And it's basically, this is what it is, it basically kind of goes backwards and then it comes back.
so that was,
Okay.
The park and ride. Oh,
That was the back, that was the road.
I think I saw it, but
I never seen this. map.
Yeah, oh, it was,
Yeah.
you were gone one year.
yeah, I was gone this meeting too.
You might have been
I
just.
think I missed a
Rick was-
meeting in the summer as well.
So basically, yeah, you go down, you cut it off here and they go all the way down here and then they come right back.
Or they could loop along Broadway and then,
I mean, you can change it if you want.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about shopping at
So we could, you know,
Yeah.
benefit.
we could
The
have come
loop
down
could,
here.
yeah, that loop could maybe do both.
That would be currently what they project. There was a meeting before you can.
Cool.
If you wanna look at it again in more detail next meeting.
do we need to share your screen somehow so
Oh,
Jillian can
yeah.
see?
Sorry,
I
Joey.
tried to find it in my email, but I couldn't.
You won't know.
No.
It's different.
And it'll also help with the meeting, like recording too, if.
Good point.
Now can you see it? Jillian, can you see it?
Yes. Yes,
Fantastic.
Nice. Okay.
So they're no longer doing Stone Road.
That's the reason they don't want.
Yeah. The buses in Winona.
So this is the reason why it was like, okay, you come back here, and so if you were dropped off, you would go back. Say if you're,
Great.
that was the whole reason for it too.
Mhm.
For them, it's easier, I don't know. Why?
So, but we're saying we think that,
The reason I think is because there was only one way to go through Monona from the bottom up.
Right.
It was to go around and get to the bottom of Monona and go back up through it. Now that they get to go in either direction,
Mhm.
they. They will be able to avoid that stupid extra leg of driving that they had to
Right.
do before that doesn't pass any bus stops.
Right.
The other thing I think this will indicates is that. The incoming and outgoing bus will be relatively close in timing to one another. Do you think? I don't know what that means, but like, you know. It's just, I think it's just interesting.
it'll be conceivably,
Like-
it will cut the time down.
I don't know. I think it might just make it a little bit more predictable.
And for regional transit, I am thrilled to see a stop at the Bucknell Park and Ride.
Right.
That makes me so
Absolutely.
happy because we
Absolutely.
built that for buses.
And now you can get from,
And now there's 2 buses that are stopping out.
yeah, you could be picking up Badger bus or,
Van Gelder.
you know, Van Gelder or any of the other larger coach buses that stop there.
Right.
So that's a big boon for
Mhm.
connectivity.
There are other Madison Metro buses that stop there too.
Yeah,
That
Yeah.
connect there.
well,
Is it one of the L's?
It's like the 12.
Are there-
That goes out.
Maybe it makes it easier to make farming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
That's.
So would it make sense if this is what we're looking at, would it make sense to? Do we want, do we want them to be going down? Let's say one way be going to the park and rides, and as they're making a loop here, let's assume you're coming from downtown, you can go to the park and ride. And then the loop actually takes you across Broadway. And up,
I can ask.
so that they go across Broadway rather than Femrite on both ways.
I can ask if that's.
I mean, maybe it's not necessary with the other buses that they're gonna put, that's where the other routes.
let's think through that. So if I'm going to the grocery store,
You don't have. any-
I can hop on at Winnequa. And it'll take me to the park and ride. And then it'll take me to the grocery store. I'll get off there. And then when I wanna go home, I get out and I get right back on and it takes me back home. So looping it on Broadway on the return route makes perfect sense. It
Mhm.
works exactly as you would want it to work. You can get dropped off
Yeah. they'll
Maybe
be
come
there.
and picked up on
So you
incoming and outgoing
Sure.
bus.
Eliminate Femrite, you're saying that?
No,
Remember the.
Loop
all
it,
the loops
just
after, right?
Loop it just like you have it. It's just going.
You'd be looping, you'd be going here from the parking lot
This is
across
one
Broadway.
way, this is one way, yeah. Thank you. And
That right, but coming.
You can take it.
Oh, okay, so you're saying that,
this travels clockwise, yeah. That
Okay,
piece of
so
the route
this
is a
is-
clockwise loop. Mhm.
up,
That's
and
just that
that's
one.
that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go technology.
If they will agree to that, I
Pretty
think
cool.
that would add some serious functionality.
Cause it picks up your Femrite.
Yep.
Picks up-
Yep. and
Like if you were, yeah, if you lived in that, what's the name of the?
Shadowing.
Chateau.
No, the red apartments, the senior living place that's there.
Oh, Monona
On them, right?
Metals.
Yeah, Monona Meadows. If you wanna go to the grocery store from there, that would be like, you would be like geographically optimized. By this bus route to be able to use the bus to go to the grocery store. This is like pick you up and take you right back to your house.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
It also avoids, when we drove the route, there was a lot of concerns from bus drivers about going westbound on Femrite to stop at the stop sign on Monona
Oh,
Drive. to
right.
turn
On
right
that hill,
on
cause it's so hard
Yeah.
to see down the
Yeah.
hill.
Bad placement for bus stops as well as slippery in the winter time. So they were, so this also eliminates that problem as well, because it won't be a bus stop.
so then the other thing that, it seems to me it also improves is that they were saying, and this may be why they're not suggesting it, but because I remember specifically when we talked about them stopping on Broadway or having a stop on Broadway by the new development,
Oh, yeah.
right, by the Shell station across from Menards. When we talked and here, right, which is right here. They were saying, no, we can't stop there because it's too close. To, oh, she's still got the drawing.
Technology, man.
Yeah, I didn't realize that you left the drawing on, but, you know, because they talked about the fact that they wanted the bus stop here because they couldn't stop here because it's too close to the intersection of Stoughton Road. And they also talked about the fact that they couldn't use, although I see Madison Metro buses at Southtown.
You know, this
And for
also
some
goes,
reason and for some reason they said that they couldn't stop at Cops and they couldn't go into the parking lot at Cops. So and this is obviously a busy intersection too. So they'd have to figure out something along here that's a good stop.
Yeah, we did.
well, maybe something near the clinic.
Where the traffic
What's
light-
that? I don't
the
know.
traffic light clinics,
Yeah, where?
the clinics.
You have your help.
You don't know.
Oh, right
Yeah,
there,
at
yeah.
the intersection of
Yeah.
Cops and Broadway.
Well, I think we could let them figure that out, but I think as long as they have a stop along that block.
Right,
Right.
could be the clinic, it could be a Huska, it could be.
I mean, I think if they put a second one right before Quick Trip in front of that shopping center where the US cellular store is, that could
Right.
be,
I assume they started.
Felix Flowers,
yeah,
flower stop.
Yeah, there you go.
Bellies.
Oh, Bellies.
Yeah.
Those Felix.
I like your name better, but
Yeah. That's a nice figure, no heels.
well,
Well, and the nice thing is these
I
are
didn't see this, but it looks great.
little, yeah, these are little tweaks around the
It makes it
route, right?
stronger, yeah.
Which, you know, we can also start to, you know, going back to the issue of like, how many people are riding the bus when they're getting on and off? Hopefully, we'll have better data about utilization to be able to optimize. If, you know, if this route isn't working, or if one of the stops is just never being used, or if the
Right.
bus drivers have problems, like.
The guy from Metro said that they have data for people getting on and they're working on getting data for when they get off, but they don't have it yet. So, but they're expecting to have it soon.
Everybody's got an RFID chip.
That's what it's coming down to.
Okay.
Yeah,
so-
right. You use your cell phone like Google and
Um,
that's how they tell weather, traffic pattern.
So one of the things that I'm gonna, well, first of all, one of the things that I said to, well, is this a route we want?
I'll double check if we can do the drawings.
Okay,
This is, yeah, so.
Is the route part of the recommendation that we're making to council?
That would be part of the two ways, this would be one of, because they're gonna ask. So
Yeah.
I would assume.
No, but I mean, it's one thing to say this is the current proposal. And still
And they can-
leave room for.
but and I think, again, I think we're gonna have to talk through, this is the route, once we get confirmation that this is the route.
You're right.
Right.
Then Mark, you should also talk to, or we'll have Madison Metro come back and to figure out the best. Knowing what the developments are, that are going in Monona, knowing the
Right.
high school schedule, knowing. You know, other things we'll have to figure out the best stops, right?
Yeah.
In this new route. And then there are a few other things, like for instance,
Big fights could be on.
You know-
Oh, crossing, Monona Grove High School students crossing the street to get on the bus headed south and to take them home after school. Coming in the morning, not a problem. Kids can hop on the bus, they'll be dropped off right in front.
I know they have.
Well, they have a good
They have-
flashy light
Flashing light.
crosswalk there now, even though I thought somebody get rear-ended there the other day when I was crossing the road.
Right.
There was a kid
They're
here today.
crossing.
The lights were flashing. You're in a school zone.
There was a kid here today on Monona Drive, I don't know if it was an art school kid or it was not fun.
so you know, one of the other things that occurs to me is that, I mean, maybe this is just wishful thinking on my part, I'm gonna have to talk to the senior center and Diane. About it, but you know, we just passed. A budget for 24. Which includes an increase for Newbridge.
I watched that meeting.
Did you? And
For what?
for Newbridge, which is one of the service providers for our senior center.
Okay.
And they've done a terrific job and they're right on Cottage Grove Road. And, you know, like for instance, they were huge support to the seniors that were displaced with Monona. And their regular, you know, they provide all kinds of services to the seniors. And it occurs to me that they might be able to help us take on like helping seniors with the paratransit applications or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, there was things like that I wanna make sure that we, you know, and I'll make sure I figure it out with the senior center so that nobody has an undue burden. Again, I don't think it's,
I mean, they're gonna realize how convenient this bus service is and they're gonna be using the regular one anyway, because it's so convenient and well thought out.
Right. no, I.
And
would-
easy to get on and off of.
I could, you know,
So,
I
I
could
don't
be down
know.
to the summer concert in Winter Brook Park.
We
and
should-
grabbing-
I think that they should,
Council meeting, you wanna go?
they could help, I wonder if they could help orient people to a new service, regardless of what it is, but include both. You know, maybe there's like. Maybe they organize some kind of guided tour
Guided tour, sure,
of the
Plus
service.
party.
sure, a bus party.
Like, don't worry, it's not that hard,
canapes.
you just,
Well,
right,
and the other thing is that I, you know, one of the things that I made a point of at the city council meeting, before we passed the operating budget was that, you know, what's budgeted in this year's budget, in the 24 budget. Is the express, lift contract. Which is more expensive than the Madison, or was more expensive than the Madison contract. And so, one of the things that I said to, the city council was. Should we vote to pass Madison Metro proposal, I would expect that we can reallocate those funds, the excess funds. For a marketing campaign, and if we can't, you know, I'm gonna be coming back to the council, we'll be coming back to the council. You know, to somehow find the funds, one way or another, for marketing, because it's on, as I've said all along, it's on us to
Gotta
make
qualify
sure.
for a purpose.
Or the Harper funds,
It would
exactly,
qualify.
it would,
It's one of those things that needs action.
fantastic.
Do you need a grant writer to put us?
Yeah.
It's certainly we have.
No,
probably
there's
by
a-
every resident in Monona for past
I don't think complimentary tickets is a bad idea.
No, I mean,
To a
I
certain
agree, and I
extent,
think
I
we,
think that's
Free
more-
bus week.
a free bus week, right, just to try it. Yep, I mean, I just really think. It's on us if we're gonna make this shift to make
All
it
the
as
high school
easy.
students in Madison have a free. All,
Oh, yeah, Monona
And
Grove
Sun
needs to be
Prairie.
giving out bus passes.
Who pays for that? The city, the school
Well,
district?
It feels like, I mean, I took my granddaughter to
I
get
assume
her,
the school
she
district.
went to Madison
Yeah,
Metro.
because I know the university pays for its students,
Yeah.
so they get it.
Yeah.
So you, a lot of businesses will have free passes.
Yeah.
And the middle and elementary in Monona are served by the same first student contract that Madison has, or they
You're
have.
talking about Madison, Madison uses first student.
Yeah, I know Madison does, but Monona Elementary Middle School
I think they use
kids.
Madison.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they have,
I believe
again,
that's
a
how-
contract bus service, okay.
Yeah.
And I know for students is, there's been a lot of articles in the paper.
Oh, wow.
They're
That
having
they're rolling out
troubles,
as well.
they're having lots of troubles.
So. Okay,
Yeah,
are we good?
yeah.
And they said it would take, I mean, even after if
It
the
takes
city
6
council
months.
accepted a recommendation. It would be 6 months at least.
Yeah.
6 months for.
For implementation,
Well, fund for 6 months with your contract first regardless.
right,
Right.
It's 6 months. And they, I don't know if you remember, you talked about their union picks and stuff like
Yep.
that. So that's to fall on their unions. So time then they would work it too. They'll be working it too at the same time. So it's at least 6 months. So that actually probably looks.
Yeah, so we have to wait until the city council approves our recommendation to notify first student. Oh, you guys will take care of that.
Yeah, we'll take
Yeah.
care of all that. We'll take care of all that. Make sure
6 months
Yeah.
from then, not right now.
Make sure we follow. the process.
So one thing that would be helpful that we do need to take care of is, I talked to the mayor in terms of what form she wants the recommendation in.
Mhm.
And Neil, the city administrator as well. And so typically, when a committee is making a recommendation, it comes in the form of a resolution. With a whole bunch of whereases. Whereas, right, so, and I also thought in this instance that it would be really. Helpful if there was a summary document, as tight as we can get it. Yeah, but a summary document as to. You know, it's kind of an addendum to the resolution as to why we came to the decision, how we got to the decision. That we got to, and. I'm certainly, you know, I talked about the fact, I told Rick that I would write it and then, you know, he could. Serve as editor, but if somebody else wanted to take on one of those two, I mean, I could take on the resolution, somebody else could write the summary document, somebody that's been here. On the transit commission, for instance, longer than I have, because I don't even, Cause I just think in terms of the summary document, it'd be helpful, like, I don't even know when Madison Metro first approached us. I don't even remember.
Yeah, I've got it back in my notes.
Right, and so. And again, I think
I
it just,
think I have notes from the time before that. Do you think you do that?
Oh, wow.
when they first
Oh,
approached us, and then the first survey, and then
Yeah.
the, you know, and then.
I haven't
the
been keeping
Public,
for all the 8 years or whatever.
oh, come on, Doc. And then, you know, the public information, there's sessions that we had, and then the new survey, and
what we've
then,
done.
you know. And then the criteria that were developed, so just sort of stepping through this tightly,
Criteria,
does,
public meetings, yep,
would,
happily,
huh?
I'd happily put
You
the
would
summary
happily-
document together.
Okay,
Whereas things I don't understand.
Okay.
That's fine.
But yeah, the summary
Okay,
document.
so I'll do the whereas, and Mark, if you wanna, I can take a photo of your resolution on the piece of paper.
Oh, that's I can email it to you. Probably easier.
Okay, because
This is might be remarkable, Mark, because you literally just go like, boink, email
I
this
know.
page to Nancy.
My
You're at-
computer's really- It's terrible. So really-
okay, so if you email me the resolution, then I'll put together the resolution, and then Addie, you could put
Yeah.
together, and then we'll use we can use Rick as editor, does that work?
And do I need to
Sure,
include
would you-
literally everything?
No,
Okay,
I
so
want it to
public
be
document, I
tight.
can public document
Thought
refer.
process behind it.
Okay, so
Right,
I'll shoot 2.5 pages.
yeah. Hopefully even shorter than that, yeah, but just to get a summary document of where we got to where we got, you know, why we got. That make sense?
Yeah.
And then I'll do the whereases and, we could review, I mean, we could technically review it at the next meeting, but I know the mayor is wanting to wrap it up sooner rather than later. Would anybody have an objection? If we did the drafting and used, Rick, I mean, we can't, I don't wanna break quorum rules by
I think,
gotcha doing email blasts to everybody.
Yeah.
So, cause
For like feedback and comments.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
You could send it to us, we could read it.
okay, and if you,
We
yeah, and
don't
I,
have to make any, we don't have to respond and make any comments.
you don't, it's just a matter of not, not
respond
replying
just to that
all.
one person.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Just
so
don't
if
get
you,
reply,
if
no.
we
And then you can summarize all the changes.
Right,
do have comments, we should or should not reply on.
you could not reply
Not
all.
reply all.
It's easier just.
But for-
You can't have an email conversation.
I
understand,
It's
okay.
against, yeah,
That's good.
okay, so we can share, we'll share it once we get it in what we think is final form. And then I will make sure that you guys aren't emailed en masse, because that's not supposed to happen either, except for like meeting announcements. And when you reply, and I'll remind you in the email, when you reply.
Are we thinking to bring it to the 20th here in November or do the first read of December?
I can get it done.
I can.
That means
Pretty
it has to be
quick.
done for Leah by when?
She doesn't need it until next Thursday. Friday morning, it's Friday, it's dropped it.
Next Friday,
17th of
in
November.
final form.
Yeah, but if you send it on Thursday, she'll go through and change it.
It's asking a lot.
That's asking a lot.
Yeah,
To have
not next Friday, not this Friday.
10 days, 10 days from.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do you want it now or December?
So 10 days from today, November
We
17th,
have a
we
bunch
would
of
go
the
to the
agenda
common
that
council
night
on
anyways, so
November 20th, you're saying.
So. Yeah. Otherwise, December 4th.
December 4th is eminently doable. That's-
December 4th is less on the agenda.
But we want it done sooner rather than later.
It's 2 weeks.
It's pretty
regardless.
soon.
I don't think it's gonna make that much of a difference if it's December 4th versus the 17th as it relates to. Right,
Right, I don't think it makes.
because the second we doing a meeting?
Yeah, we'll do both.
We will,
Yeah, I don't think it makes a difference when we.
So, because I want people, I wanna give people an opportunity to see it, us opportunity to write it well and to edit it and then to see it in case there's any other comments, right? So why don't we shoot from December 4th?
Okay, so we want to put.
So
That
that way,
makes sense.
and that way I can make sure everything's
Okay, so we'll try and
mass match. I
do
wanna
the
make sure.
circulation before Thanksgiving then? Or do we want to smash this in the week after Thanksgiving?
Maybe before Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
if you think, I think
Yeah,
so.
and that's clean enough.
Let's do it before, we'll get it to you before Thanksgiving. So that you have time and then we'll have it queued up for the council meeting and stuff.
Okay.
Good. Make sense, Jillian? How's the baby?
She's good. I might have to go to kiss her goodnight before she falls asleep.
Okay, well, I think we're pretty close to done here anyway. Any other?
Oh, I was just gonna say, Nancy, I draft resolutions for the legislature, so I'm happy to edit.
Oh,
Wow, where did that come from?
I can just,
If you really should, if you want to tell her that, that would be fantastic.
Great, just pass it on for editing.
yeah, I mean, I'm happy to do it if Mark gives me his notes. I'm
Yeah.
used to throwing something into resolution format in an hour or less, so.
I can give you our format. It's ours might be a little different than the state, but I'll give you our format.
Yeah,
Okay.
'cause- yeah, that would be great. That would be awesome. So if you draft it and then that'd be great. Thank you so
Okay.
much for offering, Jillian.
Yeah, no problem.
So, once the council accepts the resolution, then we notify for student that we're switching the
Yeah,
contract.
Yeah, I mean,
And then we can start that 6 month clock.
And I'll get an update from Justin, I'll give you a call.
Yeah.
What is your guys' timeline?
Yeah, oh, okay, right, you
I
don't
mean,
want
cause
to.
they got, I don't know what their union negotiation dates or pick dates are and all that stuff.
Right. Well,
Right,
well,
right,
and again, we might wanna think about, when you talk to Justin, you know, we wanna make sure that we get the stops.
Right, the
We get
routes,
them committed
yeah,
to
so
the
that's what I
stops that we
that's
want
why I
to
want.
where A stops on, and so
details.
the details, right, cause that's gonna be part of the, okay, so. We do have 6 feet before we adjourn.
And this was the DEI, and this is
Yeah.
one of the, we do have a DEI committee and this, the Metro contract. is one of the things that we're looking at, so it
Yeah.
falls right.
I would think we would want to have a whereas.
Oh,
About
absolutely, whereas
sustainability,
around
about
DEI,
DEI.
whereas around sustainability.
Yep,
Yeah.
and about, the plan commission and developers
Yeah,
ask for, is it on that
Yeah,
transit?
yeah.
Make it a priority to secure public transit to serve affordable and senior housing developments.
Right.
From the.
yeah, so I can actually, yeah, that was the document
I
going,
wrote this report.
I know, way back.
Several months ago,
Yeah.
that just went through the city's other.
Plans.
Are you on it? Yeah.
No,
So you
it's-
wrote this?
I wrote a report with consolidation of other committees' work that
Other
points an
plans.
arrow in a direction for our commission.
Oh,
That's what it
To
is.
do this work,
Oh, okay.
Yes,
to expand.
You drew this from other,
yes, and I can send it to you if you'd like.
sure,
It's a public record, I believe it.
yeah, nice, I have it.
I'm supporting you. Like,
Have you ever heard the perfect be the enemy of the good?
I thought that was yours.
No,
Yeah,
I
and broken
no, I
down.
can't take credit for that one, it's been
What?
around a long time. But yes, this is I think a nice step forward, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yes, on November 30th. At 6 p.m.
Hmm.
There is, I believe it's in, is it municipal?
It's a-
Yeah, it's in the municipal.
In the library, there
November
is the ad hoc. DEIB committee that has been
Yeah.
working on implementation for
Yeah.
the city. Is going to be there with Maya to talk about You may remember that there was a DEIB report. That was created, and the charge of that DEIB committee, implementation committee, was to literally look at all the recommendations in the report and prioritize them. Say which ones are most important to the city, as being one. But they did pick their top three, and they've been meeting with the various committees that are responsible for influencing those top three. Which is the planning commission, so we've met with them several times, they're gonna give an update on the community. On the 30th and 16th.
That's an update.
And yeah,
At the library.
that's the
Yep.
library, yep.
Yep.
And our city administrator, Neil. Also just completed a course at UW Green Bay. Around, I can't remember the exact title of the course, but it was all around building partnerships with indigenous communities. In the state, and he found it to be very helpful. He also did a course at UW Green Bay. And got a certificate. Because he took a class, he got a certificate for that first class too, but he also took a class on the history of the Green Bay Packers. But for DI, the more important one would be they took that class, so. I can't think of anything else on the DI.
That makes me think of Sam Damiano, which would be on the.
Yep, so, and we have confirmed, Snow State game to be on. With that, I will entertain. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Hey, tight meeting, thanks.
Yeah, good.